The first week of OTAs in Pittsburgh for the Steelers practices are officially in the books. And with that being said, we have a ton of news, notes, highlights, observations from the entire week. And in this video, I kind of wanted to give you basically an overview of everything that we've seen over the first week leading into week 2, which is in a couple of days from now. We will be covering that as well, by the way, so make sure you guys stay tuned. But I just wanted to give you guys a major update. I post these mini videos just covering each day, but now let's combine them all into one just in case you missed a day or two. Now you're going to be updated with everything. But before we jump into the video, I want you guys to do me a favor. Comment down below a player who has surprised you so far, a player who you think could break out this season, or just someone that you think is going to have an unbelievable season. Let me know in the comments down below, but also join the family. And with that being said, let's dive into week 1 of the Pittsburgh Steelers OTAs. Now, the first thing to talk about is Russell Wilson. The dude is popping. The dude looks good. The dude looks like the old Russell Wilson. And maybe it was just a change of scenery from Denver, but the man looks really good, especially his deep ball. Now, that is going to be so important, the deep ball, the deep accuracy, just in terms of what they're trying to do, right? Ground and pound, run the ball, set up play action, and then boom, take your shot play. Russell Wilson has came in here and made some really good throws right away, and we've seen that. And you also talk about the speed that this team has added in a guy like Quez Watkins, a guy like Calvin Austin. Hell, even Scotty Miller and Roman Wilson have some really good speed as well. And you have a 50-50 guy in George Pickens who makes it more 70-30. So you talk about how this offense has been built. Yeah, it's been absolutely perfect. Run the football, and then burn them over the top once they stack the box. I'm going to let you guys know right now, Russell Wilson has been really good. His deep ball looks effortless. When you watch his game when you watch his practices, you can tell he is more locked in than ever, right? Obviously, they brought in Justin Fields. If you remember a couple of days ago, if you guys missed it, you'll hear it now. But Justin Fields said the other day, listen, my plan is not to ride the pine for the entire season. I'm going to work, I'm going to grind, and I'm going to make sure I put myself in the best opportunity, the best position to actually start some games this season. And guys, listen, Justin Fields looks different as well. I don't know what it is here in Pittsburgh that they make guys play better up to their potential, but Justin Fields and Russell Wilson both look good out the gate, and definitely something that we want to see. Now, I also want to say that we have to take it with a grain of salt, right? It's just OTAs, and I know a lot of you guys are going to say that. Listen, how can they look nasty? Well, obviously everyone's going to look nasty with no pads and whatnot, but it's the work ethic, it's the diving into the playbook, it's the learning the new scheme, the chemistry, right? Those are the things that you really need to solidify in OTAs and mandatory minicamp, right? But once the pads come on, that's when we'll get to see, once there's full contact, that's when guys will be able to really stand out. But so far, so good. If I had to grade them for OTAs, and again, I know it's nothing crazy, but you got to give them at least an A. They've been working hard, right? And I really like the fact that Quez Watkins and Calvin Austin can burn deep, because those guys will be very, very important when it comes to breaking down a defense, running the football down their throat, and then boom, once they bring up the safeties, you tack them over the top. That is going to be massive for them. We also have some undrafted rookies really playing well, or really showing out so far as well. One being Dejon Edwards, and we've seen him do good, but they've also decided to bring in a couple of running backs. One in LaMichael Piron, a former Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs. Doesn't offer too much of, former playing time. Like, hasn't played too much yet in his career, but obviously has some potential and knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl, at least what the locker room should feel like, right? And then they also, signed Jonathan Ward, the former Tennessee Titan running back. He's been pretty good. I believe he tried out in one of the OTA practices, and they said, yeah, he's good enough. Let's bring him on the team. Especially when you have a ground and pound team, you're going to need as many running backs as possible, especially for preseason, right? There's going to be injuries. Najee's probably not going to play in the preseason. Jalen Warren might not play in the preseason. Now you have 4 or 5 guys that can really play in the preseason and offer you that number 3 role for this team going forward, or at least compete for it. So I'm definitely happy about that. But what I wanted to talk about as a UDFA, Beanie Bishop, man. Listen, Beanie Bishop is an interesting player, right? You look at him at the cornerback position, could play nickel. They're really trying to figure out which one of these guys is going to step up and be their starting nickel for the season, right? And Darius Rush has looked really good throughout camp so far. Even Josiah Scott has looked good, right? So they have a ton of different guys opportunities here. But Beanie Bishop, actually looking really good. So far, he's a guy that the media and the coaching staff have been watching really closely, popping off the field, forcing a fumble, making some big-time pass breakups against Roman Wilson, who was a high draft pick, for this class. But a guy who just plays with physicality, a guy who is not afraid to step up and make a big-time tackle, a guy who knows how to work, hit guys hard, right? This is a guy you just want on your football team. Now, I don't know if he's going to come in here and be, someone to make the initial 53-man roster, but look for him to make the practice squad at the very, very least, man. He is a guy that will do whatever it takes to make big-time plays. He's fearless, and he just has that Pittsburgh Steeler type of mentality, right? That aura around him. So Beanie Bishop is definitely a guy you guys need to continue to look out for over the next couple of weeks. We heard a little bit about Calvin Austin and what he was trying to, progress in this offseason. Route running. He wanted to hammer down the route running, separation. Let me get open more. I have the speed. I have the capabilities. Of once the football is in my hands, I can make anything happen. Let me just, garner some separation, and that way, once I get the football, I can be gone, right? So he's been working on his footwork. He's been working on getting open, creating separation, and that is something that they really do need, especially now that Deontay Johnson's gone. Such a good route runner, Deontay. He's back over in, or not back, but he's in Carolina now. They bring in Dante Jackson, a day one starting corner on the outside boundary, just like or alongside Joey Porter Jr. So I think Calvin Austin, they have shoes to fill, and you're not going to be able to fill those shoes easily. Deontay Johnson, even though some of you guys didn't love him, he was a very good route runner. And, I believe Roman Wilson, Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, Quez Watkins, those guys can really, really help. But we'll see who really steps up. Let me know in the comments down below real quick as well. Who do you think the starting 3 wide receivers will be? Also, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the like button, turn on post notifications. It doesn't cost anything. We will be covering the Steelers throughout the entirety of not only OTAs, but mandatory minicamp, training camp, preseason, regular season, everything you could think of. We got you guys covered, so join the family. I like what Calvin Austin is doing. We heard a little bit of good news from the offensive linemen. They look deep, man. All 3 of the rookie offensive linemen look like they could be day one starters. Now, obviously, Mason McCormick won't, just because of the depth that they have at guard already with Isaac Samalo and James Daniels. But so far, so good. I'm excited to see what Najee Harris does this year, just because he's on his contract year. They declined the 5th-year option, and you bring in Arthur Smith, the guy who knows how to get the running game going. Yeah, I think Najee could break out the season alongside someone else, whether it's Jalen Warren or anybody, right? So I'm definitely excited about that. A couple of other guys who have looked pretty good here. Corey Trice, a guy who looked insane last not preseason, but OTAs, minicamp, and training camp. Corey Trice was a guy that, they thought could even be a day one starter. And he's a guy that's already looking good again. Do not sleep on Corey Trice. And again, Darius Rush, Josiah Scott, Beanie Bishop. Who else looked good? TJ Watt actually had a comment the other day saying, I'm starting to feel kind of old, which don't love to hear that, but at the same time, he's getting up there in age, right? So, Pat Frymuth is taking a big jump up in terms of leadership. He's really trying to take guys under his wing and be like, hey, I'm trying to be a veteran. I'm trying to be a guy on this team that can help other guys get better, and he's doing that so far. So you look at everything that they've done. They're setting up a very good football team, and I'm excited to see what Russell Wilson, Justin Fields do as they continue to compete, but more importantly, what these wide receivers do to continue to compete, right? Because I feel like there's one day one starter, George Pickens. Other than that, I feel like Calvin Austin, Scotty Miller, Quez Watkins, Van Jefferson, and Roman Wilson could all be starters if they perform right in preseason, training camp, and whatnot. So we got a lot of camp battles going on here, and it's going to be very, very exciting to see what happens next. Oh, another guy, I forgot about him, Ryan Watts. Keep an eye on him. Ryan Watts has been really, really good in camp. A lot of these corners starting to really break out, so definitely excited to see that. But with that being said, that was week 1. Guys starting to look good. As we ramp up, we'll have more for you. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next Steelers update. Peace.